Yo, 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 welcome to Pitch Report. I'm Mario.
And I'm Amilcar.
And it looks like you've done some decorating on Milcar. You got
Yeah.
some scarves in the background.
Yeah. Honestly, for the longest time, every time I traveled somewhere, I'd always buy like a soccer scarf of the local soccer team. And I realized I was talking to my sister, and I was like, wait, I gotta like start putting these up now that I have like a more dedicated like office. And so these were just the ones that I could pull up that I had like readily available. But I'm like, I think I have probably like another like 5 or 10 that I gotta find.
Oh, cool.
And I'm like, maybe I gotta go back to collecting them because for the longest time I kept collecting them and just basically like putting them away in a drawer. But now I have a place to put them, so maybe soon you'll
Uh,
slowly start seeing this whole area fill up behind me. Hopefully,
uh, they look great for people not watching on YouTube. He's got FC Porto, which is my favorite Portuguese team,
nice.
and then Ajax, and then the
Real Madrid
Real
on the other
Madrid
side
one,
over
of
there, and
course.
then this is just like the inaugural scarf, like the inaugural SDFC game down at the bottom.
Okay.
So I have like my Spain scarf. I have a couple other scarves that I gotta grab wherever they're at. Gotta figure that out. But also, can we talk about your mug? I just saw you taking a sip out of it.
Yeah.
It's like a super super tall Mario.
Yeah, it was a
That's
gift
amazing.
from my wife a few years ago. I think we were dating at the time, but she basically made one for our whole family, and to distinguish it. It's not to scale. I do have a neck, uh, and a little bit more
And not like
shoulder
extremely
definition.
long legs.
Yeah,
Yeah, I haven't seen
but
your
yeah,
workouts lately, so yeah, building up that shoulder definition.
yeah. Sadly, the arms do look like that, but
Like a noodle arm.
we're we're working on it.
That's funny, and also wearing glasses, which you do wear as well. So
Yeah.
oh, look at that.
Dude,
That's
I
hilarious.
finally got my glasses. I lost my old pair of glasses, which it was time. My prescription was 7 years old. But I
Uh-huh.
finally, like, remember I told you I was going to get a new TV? Once
Yeah.
I put my glasses back on, I was like, you know what? This TV might still be fine for the World Cup. It's not, it wasn't so much the TV, it was just me getting a little older.
It was your whole life was just on like 1080 instead of 4K
Yeah,
now.
basically.
I know. Once I got LASIK, man, that was like seeing the future for me once I did that. So I was like, whoa, I can see again. This is crazy. And like I wake up, don't have to put glasses on, no contacts. Like this is unreal. It's a new world.
Well, on the note of seeing the future, could you please tell me when San Diego FC is going to win again? Because now we're in unseen territory. It's been 4 games. We've never gone 4 games without a win, and well, until now. So, and you were at the game, so want to recap what that was like?
Yeah. They had this little giveaway right here. They had that little captain's
Oh,
what
that's
do you
so
call it?
cool.
Don't worry, Mario. I got you one too.
Oh,
I
okay.
got one for you, so you're good.
What a guy! What a guy!
I'm a man of the people.
That's a friend and a co-host right there. I'll
Yeah,
put it
no.
in this little space right now, right here.
There you go. Hey, now, whenever I see you in person, I'll give it to you. But yeah, no,
We'll
the
do the
match was
picture too.
me giving it to you.
Yeah.
It'll actually be like one of those captain's exchanges. I'll buy one of a different team. We'll do like the actual exchange.
Yeah, there you go.
No, man, the game was interesting. Like you're saying about tell me when they're gonna win another game. This was the first time that I watched a match that I was just like felt like kind of helpless. It felt so disorganized. It felt like there was no opportunity to score. The one we had, the goal that Bambino scored was,
Golazo.
yeah, it was awesome, but it was just kind of like, I don't want to say a fluke. It just kind of fell right there. It was a perfect hit. And it was like one of like what 2 or 3 opportunities I think that they really had. But I feel like they're just like lacking a lot of the creativity, like that midfield creativity that that Dreyer had last year, and just yeah, that and like the defense is obviously struggling. Like I think McVay's not who he was even just last year. Obviously, he had the double yellow, which was red, and it was early on in the second half. We were actually getting like caricatures done because they had like a caricature artist person there. And then so like I think I was with some friends and they were all getting the caricatures done. We came back, it was like 3 minutes into the second half. It was already a red card. I was like, what the hell is going on, man? So yeah, it's very frustrating. It seems like they're kind of very disjointed. The goals they gave up too were just like kind of the ball just kind of fell to people. The
Yeah.
the defense just looks like they're just all kind of disjointed, weird. It doesn't seem like they're playing with any sort of like not purpose, but like any sort of coherence between them. And this is like the first time that I feel like I've seen that out of this like Mikey Vara side.
Yeah, it's been frustrating. I was joking when I said it last week about that it's a better tactical formation to play with 11 versus 10, but I swear ever since I said that, that's all I've seen this past week. And we'll get to that in a little bit, but with San Diego FC, I feel like there was little signs of that last year where you would have scary moments with defense, but they weren't getting fully burnt. And I feel like this season we've seen it a lot more. McVay's been gotten a red card in 3 games, 3 red cards in 3 games. And so you don't have consistency. And then Manu Dua's out, so he won't be playing. They won't be playing together for at least 2 more games now. And I feel like it's like little details that are not working together. Because I agree, like our counterattack is not as good because I feel like we're not getting the balls through like midfield quite as well. But then in defense, we're getting burnt as well. So we're not playing from the back as they did so well in the first year. What I do want to credit the team is that at least on TV, it looked like they still kind of have fight in them. Maybe because they've had to play with 10 players so often that it's like the new normal for them. But at least it felt like they were trying. But it just feels really hard to come back from being down 10 players.
Yeah, and I mean Minnesota's not a bad team. They're not a great team either. So they're kind of somewhere in the middle. It seems like we're kind of even there, and it just did not seem like there was going to be any opportunities. And they still had the possession a good amount of the time, but they
Yeah.
weren't doing anything with it. And so they would like get to the final third and then give up the ball. All right, cool. Then they would counter, come back, get possession again, pass it, around, and then get the ball taken away. Or there just wasn't any like good crosses. There wasn't any like creativity, like 1-2 passes, like nothing. And there was, but I will say that in the first half there was another moment where I forget who it was, but they did like an extra pass to Dreyer, and then the goalie was basically there, and it almost went in if the goalie wouldn't have like run it and grabbed it. But there was like an extra pass that didn't need to be done. She just shot it and then gone from there. So the one thing, and I mean, I think there's probably a lot of stuff that's missing, but I don't know. Maybe it's just like the sophomore slump that we're starting to see, and or maybe people figuring out SDFC a little bit more, even though it's a very different team, I would say, than last year. And maybe that's a problem. Maybe there's a lot of changes that happened, and we were very team first. The team is who's going to play. It didn't really matter who played. It was just the system and the coach. And now we're starting to see kind of holes in that.
Yeah, it's curious that you mentioned that the extra pass. I felt like that was happening a couple of times. There's a few other times where I saw where at least it felt like they could have gotten a shot off, and instead by getting the extra pass, they didn't really challenge the keeper. Instead, that's a good observation that that I had noticed when the game was happening as well.
Yeah,
It's early in the season. Sorry, go
I was
ahead.
gonna say, it's funny because last year that would happen sometimes too, and then you're just like, all right, put Chucky in, he'll shoot. Like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where he gets the ball. It doesn't matter where he's at. He's gonna shoot the ball. So, but the funny part is like that would get people going because it's a deflection that scores, or the goalie blocks it, and then it falls to someone. Like that sort of just like getting a shot off gets things moving. You know what I mean? And like you just never know what's gonna happen as long as you get a good ball into the box. And that's just not happening because, like you're saying, I think they're looking for like the perfect goal instead of just like, let's just try to get something in there, test the keeper a little bit, mistakes, anything can happen.
And that was essentially what the Bombino goal was kind of in a good spot, and he just went for it, and you got the result there in the one and only goal. Which when that went in, I was like, okay, let's go. We're cooking. We're gonna score 3-4 today. That did not happen, but it's early in the season, so I'm still optimistic. We'll see how we do against Real Salt Lake and our boy Diego Luna, not to be confused with the actor from The Mandalorian. Or no, not The
That's
Mandalorian,
who they
from Rogue
joke every
One. Rogue
time.
One.
Yeah, but I mean, speaking of Chucky, I think I was reading about him kind of essentially putting the final nail in the coffin for his Mexico World Cup. I guess he had a transfer he could have done to Real Oviedo in Spain, in La Liga, so the top flight in Spain. He said no. He's like, I want my 6-7 million from San Diego, not play. I don't really care. And I guess he met with a coach and basically decided, I'll take the $7 million over a move and the potential of playing the World Cup. So no, Chucky in the World Cup probably doesn't move the needle for you, Mario. I'm guessing just because he hasn't really been in the team.
No, not too much. I think Mexico's starting to look good right now. Chucky hadn't been a huge contributor. He's kind of like been, people would say, like a James, how he's lived off his World Cup goal. This is against Germany. He's a great player. We saw great moments with them at San Diego FC, but I think Mexico's actually looking pretty good. On the Chucky side, who knows? Hey, this is my biggest paycheck I might get, and then I'm on the later part of my career, so he must have done some calculations on his end and what that money might mean for him and his future post playing. But I mean, there's a price to everything, I guess. Pun intended, maybe, or not intended, but so ultimately, like that, it is what it is. I just hope San Diego FC can hopefully get more or be able to do something once he moves, because it seems like we're missing a little bit of depth.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like for $6-7 million, you can get 2-3 like very, very, very good players. Like it's not just we're talking about a couple 100,000. You're going to get some mediocre players. You get some like very, very talented players, and that's like I feel like what we're missing. That extra spark in the midfield, that extra spark in the like the wingers and stuff. And I think because we don't have a lot of that like depth and all of that talent outside, like the defense can drop on Dryer, and so he's also kind of like stuck not being able to be as creative as he normally is because he's got every time he touches the ball, it's 2 or 3 defenders right on him within a second because they're falling off of everybody else. So hopefully this gets figured out, and hopefully, I think I was hearing rumors about maybe a summer transfer, but I don't know with this news if Chuki's going to want to transfer, period, unless there's a team that's going to pay him that $6-7 million. But I mean, I don't know. It's got to be a big money team. I think they were saying like America really is like one of the few teams in Mexico that can maybe afford him. So I don't know.
I mean, he's at that point got to decide if he wants to play, because at that point he's no longer a soccer player. He's just, I kind of used to sort of be a soccer player. Yeah, I'm on the team, but I don't really play. Like if he wants to continue to be a soccer player, he needs to be in a team where he's playing.
Yeah, and I guess I'm just shocked that he would give up the World Cup like that. Just be like, oh yeah, whatever. Like I don't really care. Like I'm gonna move on with my life and not play a World Cup, because it seems like the World Cup is like the epitome of any soccer player. Like that's like what they want. That's their goal, So to be able to quickly be like, whatever, I don't care.
There you go. I had my moment in 2018.
That says enough though. But I guess that's exactly the reason why he's not on SDFC, right? Because of things like that you're like, no, you're not looking at the bigger picture. You're not looking at the team. You're not looking at the group. You're just looking at like maybe potentially like very selfish and just like, narrow minded and stuff like that. So yeah, maybe that's the reason.
We shall see. But what we will also see very shortly is a very exciting leg 2 of the quarterfinals of the Champions League. Tomorrow, Tuesday, we have PSG and Liverpool. We got PSG heading in with a 2-0 advantage, taking that to Anfield, which they were the only team to win at home for the first round.
Yeah, I mean that's gonna be a pretty good game, man. Actually, I take it back. We're talking about the PSG Liverpool game. Yeah. I was like, I think I just defaulted. That's gonna be a good game. I don't think it's gonna be a good game. I think, quoting Jesus, they're going to the slaughterhouse. I know we talked about this. He's like, they're gonna get slaughtered, and that's exactly what's happening. Liverpool had literally 0 shots on goal against PSG the last match, and I don't see it. I don't see it changing. I don't see a miracle happening. Liverpool's played pretty rough matches the last probably 4 or 5 weeks. I think they got like trounced like 4-0 against City. Like they're not playing very well. So, I don't really see this one turning around.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Arne Slot, the Liverpool coach, also he said, he's like, oh, I think we have a chance. And he was saying that because PSG didn't put more goals away. He wasn't even crediting them. So like they kind of like still gave us a chance.
Could have been worse.
Yeah, it could have been worse, essentially. Not even saying like, oh no, we have a chance because like our team's like gritty or we are tough. He's like, no, they didn't score as many as they could have, so we're still in it. I agree with you.
I mean,
yeah. So you're saying there's a chance?
Yeah.
I guess we can move on to arguably the most exciting game of the whole quarterfinals, but probably for sure of tomorrow, which is the Barcelona versus the Atletico, where Barcelona's going to be chasing a game. They're down 0-2. And I see a stat here that Barcelona has never beaten Atletico in a UCL knockout.
Yeah, never beat him before. So it honestly, this is the second time they're in this kind of hole again. Last time I think they were in that 4-0 hole or like a 3-0 hole in the Copa del Rey, and then they were playing at home. I think the second leg, and they ended up losing by like. No, sorry, they won, but they lost the aggregate by a goal, so they didn't move forward. And this is one of the ones we were talking about where they're playing each other like this year, like 6 times this year, just something kind of crazy. But yeah, I mean, I think that the Atletico played really well, man, and to take a 2-0 lead in the Camp Nou is also a huge deal. It's not like they have that that away match to so play, right? So they're going to play at home. Simeone's going to cook up I was going to say defensive masterclass, but I don't even know if you can call it that. It's just, parking the bus, just making sure that there's not no through balls. You're going to have 11 people behind the ball at all times. And Barcelona are going to have to be attacking. They're going to have to be going for the game the entire match because this is their season. I mean, as much as like they have La Liga essentially locked up, like to win it, I think what everyone, myself, we always talk about is like their lack of Champions League success, and that's like the thing that's holding them back from being like, or getting back to being like an elite team in world football. It's like having that Champions League semis, at least final, getting back to like where they had been in the past. I mean, La Liga is as crazy as just they come to them very quickly.
Yeah.
And they have them all the time. Kind of the opposite of Real Madrid. So I'm curious how it's going to be. I don't see them going through. Honestly, I don't see them scoring 2 goals on Simeone away from home. It's just funny because like I saw the Yamal quote that today. He was like, "Well, hopefully, Cholo will let me have some one-on-ones." This and that. I was like, "Bro, like what? Like what makes you think that that's going to happen?"
Hey, he's having a good time. I actually think he's pretty locked in. On the note of Yamal, he also changed his Instagram profile picture to the picture of LeBron James with the NBA Finals trophy when they came back from 3-1 against the Warriors. So honestly, I think he's locked in. He's having fun with it.
But locked in and having fun with it, Mario, are those the same thing? Because like it seems like he's such a social media dude, and that like if they win, then dude, he's like, oh man, he's so confident, he's got it. Like this guy's legit. But if they lose, you look kind of like a clown.
I mean, do you? I don't think he looks like a clown. Yeah, he is a social media dude. He grew up in social media. He's 12 years old. Not really. He's 18, I believe. But it's something that he's always like really been part of his life. I do think it's kind of like when you like you're trying to like project and envision yourself. He looks up to LeBron James, so he's like he wants to be one of the GOATs, one of like the best players. I would assume that that's what he's talking about. That's what his legacy. He wants his legacy to be like. Right now, he's really young, and he's got time to make that happen. But these are the moments where you make it happen. So he's probably in his head seeing himself like, okay, this is like my like LeBron James moment, finals moment, and this is where it really counts. This is where I really want it to happen, and not just for him, for Barcelona in general. It's been 11 years, like you mentioned, not winning the Champions League, and to what that's one like it's a long time for Barcelona fans, but to see your arch rivals win it 5 times in that period, that's creates a more of a sense of urgency as well, I would say. Because yeah, they can win La Liga, but it doesn't matter if Real Madrid wins the Champions League. It makes it like less valuable, and vice versa, I would say. And so I think it'll be a good game. I don't think Atletico was that much better. Actually, they just played with 11 players, and Barcelona played with 10 players on a questionable red card, in my opinion. The going back to San Diego FC game, McVay's double yellow, that was valid. The Barcelona one, I don't know. I think it. I don't know. I don't know if I just really hate that so many games recently that I've been watching have been defined by these types of scenarios that I'm a little like more sensitive to it. I'm referring to 2 San Diego FC games, the Barcelona game, and then today Manchester United lost to Leeds 2-1. Also, like for beginning of the second half, red card. Again, I think it was kind of questionable. But anyways, going back to like the Barcelona game, I do see Barcelona scoring 2 actually against Atletico, but I don't see Barcelona keeping a clean sheet against Atletico. So I actually think Barcelona needs to score 3 if they're going to go through. I'd see like a 3-1. Uh, but I do think they definitely have it in them to score the games. And if I had to bet, I would say that Barcelona is going to go through. I think it's time. I think this is like as good of a team that they've had to win the Champions League. So I would bet that they're going to go through. But I would say it's 3-1. I guess yeah, 3-1.
4-1.
Oh, you're right. Dang, so probably be 3-1 overtime.
So
Yeah.
4-1 is a big task to say you're going to put 4 goals past 11 players. I mean, they did 3 last time. They ended up winning 3-0, and they didn't quite make it. And also, I think Rafinha's still not playing. So
Not playing, yeah.
And that team looks totally, totally different without Rafinha than with Rafinha.
Yeah, he's like, you can't replace him. But what I will say, to Barcelona's credit, they're hopefully going to be playing with 11 players, and I don't think there's a player that you can, like, they're playing without Kubarsi, but even without him, like there's no one that's worth 2 players, or that. I don't know if my point is coming across, but basically just the fact that they're playing with 11, I like their odds. They played not bad with 10. They still created a good amount of opportunities. So I do think they have enough firepower to get the 3 goals that they would need. 4 will be difficult, but I think they could go 3-1 and take it to overtime. And then
yeah, I mean, ultimately Kubarsi is their best defender. So I mean, they're losing their best defender and their best like attacking, opportunities. So I think what'll happen though, and we all know, is if you guys don't go through, it's like, oh well, no Rafinha, no Kubarsi in the questionable red, but we'll see. I think hopefully it's an exciting game. I really hope it's not what the last games were, where they're parking the bus, because that's just like not a fun, like no one really wants to watch that match of just like sitting back and just like allowing Barcelona to have possession and just passing it back and forth. That's just like a boring match that no one wants to watch. So hopefully that's not the case, and there's some counterattacks, and maybe Atletico scores an early one. I mean, then it just opens a matchup, and then Barcelona's just like, all right, we're going all in. But I think, like we talked about before, if there's an early goal there, then anything can happen. If there's a goal in the first 15, 20 minutes, and I mean, I would venture like a Barcelona goal in the first 15, 20 minutes, then at that point, it's almost like a new game. Then you can easily score another 2 goals. So I could see it happening if they score early. I don't see him scoring early just because I know how Simeone plays. That guy just like is just going to send everyone back, double, triple Yamal, and then have someone else beat him. And just try to like come off on a counter.
That's what I have a feeling. They're going to come off a little bit more offensive at first, and then maybe settle down a little bit. Because if you are Atletico, if you get that early goal, it's over. Then you sit back and you can take 2 goals and you're still in. So I would challenge Atletico to try to look for the game early on and then drop back a little bit more. But yeah, I'm really excited. It's one of the more like spicy, exciting games. I'm wearing my Barcelona jersey, trying to send all the support they might need.
No, for sure. And speaking of another really spicy game, which I think is probably the next most exciting game, if not the equally as exciting game, is the Real Madrid Bayern Munich. Obviously, that game ended 2-1 in the Bernabeu. Bayern beating Real Madrid. Real Madrid getting Mbappe back healthy, or fully healthy, we hope. And I mean, Bayern looks super, super strong. So we'll see. We'll see if this is another one of the typical Real Madrid comebacks and kind of Champions League nights where they can come back and play and end up winning. So this will be interesting. I think basically Real Madrid just has to win, or whoever wins here is going to move on, right?
Yeah.
A 1-0, I guess if it's 1-0, it goes to extra time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's got to be some goals. So I think anything can happen in this match. I think Bayern played really well and poked a lot of holes in the Real Madrid defense, which just isn't too hard to do nowadays. But yeah, I think it's exciting for the matchup. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, this one's going to be a really tough one. Bayern needs to stay locked in. I'm hoping that in their memory, they still remember 2 years ago where Real Madrid scored 2 goals in like 10 minutes, and it was essentially ridden that Bayern was going through. I believe it might have been, was it that Bernabeu? It doesn't matter. But
It
anyways,
was the Bernabeu. It was Thomas Tuchel
okay,
when he was going to get fired at the end of the year.
okay, and essentially, Real Madrid did what Real Madrid does in the Champions League. So Bayern needs to really just finish the job this time. Harry Kane apparently was playing with like a sort of injured ankle. I'm curious to see how he's doing. He seems to play great regardless, but we'll see how he ends up doing. Not that it affects like soccer that much, but I saw Mbappe got stitches over the weekend as well.
Yeah, I got elbowed in the head, and so he got some stitches, and we'll see how that goes. I think this is Real Madrid playing for the season because they're
Yeah,
pretty much out of La Liga race. They're out of Copa del Rey. They're out of every cup except for this. So they're gonna put everything they can to this one, and they're playing for their season. If they don't win, then their season is over. And you know how it happens in Madrid. If you don't win anything, it's a very, very bad look, and they're gonna clean house. Something I was really impressed with, I will say, is going from your fourth string goalie to all of a sudden your best goalie is
oh,
healthy
Manuel Neuer,
and
yeah.
playing freaking lights out and had like 9 saves, crazy saves. And it's just like, of course, I mean, come back, showed up for the big games. So that was a crazy performance by Manuel Neuer.
Yeah, he played really well. I actually went down a rabbit hole. He retired from the German national team after the Euros, so he's actually not, uh, as of now, planning to be part of the World Cup team. But
Mhm.
like his performance against Madrid basically brought up a lot of conversations. Like, wait, how is he not the number one? He needs to be on the team for Germany. Apparently, he's had some like rifts with the like Germany coach in the past, so there's something to do with that. So that makes it a little bit unlikely. Right now, the Ter Stegen's had a lot of injuries, so it's the goalie position's not really sure with Germany. So I could see, and I would like to see Neuer go back for one more. As you mentioned before, everyone likes a good underdog story or
Comeback story.
comeback story.
Yeah, I mean, if he ends up coming back and playing, that would just add to the number of like last hurrahs, and we'll talk about
Yeah,
that when we talk about the more of the World Cup in depth. But the amount of people that this is their final World Cup, and some big names that we grew up with, and arguably some of the best players. And I think Manuel Neuer is up there with with Casillas, with Buffon, as one of the best goalies to like ever do it. And I think he's like 41 years old to be able to make the saves he's
yeah.
making and all that stuff. It's very impressive. So you got to tip your hat off to him, and he played really well. So we'll see how it turns out. I'm excited. I think Real Madrid's gonna. The good part is Real Madrid's gonna push it. They're gonna push for the game. They have to hopefully score an opening goal early, and then it goes from they score a goal, it's a tie game.
Yeah.
We're back to 0-0. And then it's really just who makes the mistake, who gives up that little chance that ends up getting like cracking open the door. So a lot can happen. It's away, so we'll see what happens. But I'm pumped about it.
And what's your prediction for this one?
I mean,
At least who goes through? Do you think Madrid or
yeah,
Bayern?
I mean, I think it's hard to bet against Madrid, honestly. Even that match, I think that Madrid had some opportunities. I think Bayern had a ton of opportunities too that they didn't capitalize on. So I'm going to say Madrid goes through, and I think it'll be. I could really see like a 1-0 and then extra time, like Real Madrid win 1-0 and then extra time, and then Real Madrid going through before penalties.
Yeah, I think the odds for extra time are pretty good in one of the four games. And I guess we can just wrap up with Sporting, who's heading to Arsenal, or who will be hosting. Yeah, no, who's heading to Arsenal,
Mhm.
and they are down 1-0. But right now, Arsenal is not looking too good, and at least in the Premier League, they've had a tough loss this weekend. Now they just have 6 points on Manchester City, who has a game on hand, and they're playing them next weekend as well. So that could define the Premier League. Uh, so any other time, I would think, oh, Arsenal for sure they're going through, but it could be a little shaky.
Yeah, I'm still pretty confident in Arsenal. I think they've played slightly better. They haven't played that much better during the Champions League, but they played a little bit better during the Champions League. It is just interesting to see kind of how they're, I don't want to say crumbling, but how they're like what's happening to them right now, the last handful of matches. And it's something similar to what's happening in Real Madrid the last couple of matches too. They just can't put it together. and that like final ball they can't get through, and I think that's been their kryptonite always. It's like, who's their striker? Like, is Bukayo Saka going to come save you again? Like, he's not a striker, but he scores goals. Like, where are you going to get your goals from? And that seems like to be the thing that they're, again, in the same spot. Like, winning 1-0 against Sporting. We saw Sporting turning around last round, right? Scoring, 5 goals in the second match. So we know that Sporting has the firepower to do it. So now it's like, does Arsenal have the goals there too? Like, their defending has been a little bit better, but do they have the firepower? Can they get creative? Can they push the ball up and have that final goal?
Yeah, I think right now they're in their heads a lot too. You've come, I think, the last 3 seasons second in the Premier League. You're under a lot of pressure. I actually think this game comes at a pretty good time for them, because if they had a full week for the Manchester City game, I think it just wouldn't maybe work to their advantage. I think it's good to kind of just have something to focus on before that. Hopefully they get a win, go through, and have that like kind of like that confidence boost, and then they can go towards the Man City game and get a good result there. Where I would prefer to have Arsenal win the Premier League over Man City personally, but it's always interesting to see, like, not a collapse, but it's always interesting to see like seeing it like be down to the wire. But even then, I still rather have Arsenal win than Manchester City. But I do like kind of like a tight race, rather than where like Bayern's got it like 8 weeks out or something like that.
No, I agree. I think having it kind of come up to last match day or the last like 2 match weeks, is always fun, But yeah, the thing with City is they have one thing they're focused on, and it's the EPL, the Premier League title, whereas Arsenal's still kind of doing both sides. So Man City can rest the entire week, focus on Arsenal, where Arsenal's like, oh, well, we got to focus on Sporting because we have a 1-0 lead. We don't really have much. If they had maybe 2-3 goal lead, they can, okay, maybe we take take it back a little bit. Not that you're going to rest players, but maybe, you score a goal, then you pull people. But I guess it could still happen. If you score a couple of goals early on, maybe you start resting people, thinking about the weekend. But that's also a scary thought, to start thinking about the weekend when you're still playing this match, and a couple goals come by, and next thing you know, you're like, wait, what the heck happened? And you're at Bayern Munich when they pulled Harry Kane out, and then they were going to overtime against Real Madrid with no striker. So anything can happen. I still think Arsenal is going to go through. What are your thoughts
for the Champions League?
Sorry, for the Champions League, yeah.
Yeah. I think Arsenal's going to go through for sure, and it'll be a good confidence boost for them. We did reach out to 2 of our good Arsenal fans and friends, Israel, who we've hosted on the show multiple times before, and Jesus, who you're going to see in a future episode very soon. Israel says he's learned the lesson as an Arsenal fan, which is sad, that not to celebrate until they're raising the trophy. And he said he could see, because I also asked him what's more likely, Arsenal winning the trophy or not winning the trophy, or Tottenham getting relegated. So he said he can see City winning the trophy because Tottenham still has about 5 games to not get relegated. So I think he's trying to be conservative, but we're rooting for you and Arsenal, Israel. And then Jesus, my brother, he said he thinks Arsenal won't win the league, unfortunately. But he says that he thinks they have a really good chance of getting to the Champions League final, because he doesn't see them losing to Barcelona or Atletico. And then he thinks that Tottenham will likely go up at least one spot and save themselves. So I disagree with Jesus. I actually think Arsenal has a better chance of winning the league than making it to the Champions League final. But I guess
it would be the next match would be against either Barcelona or Atleti.
Right? Yeah. And then, sorry, just going back to the Barcelona game, Atleti did not start a single player this weekend that started against Barcelona.
I wonder what they're prepping for.
Yeah. But we did ask our followers on Instagram of who they thought would go through for each round. This was before each respective game, and the poll stayed live for 24 hours. Do you want to go through the results really quickly?
Yeah, so I think we said it was before the last match, right? So they didn't know what the score was.
Yes.
And so yeah, so 55% of people think Madrid was going to beat Bayern, and then 89% of think Arsenal's going to win. So that's a big one. 57% Atletico. Wow, Mario,
That's surprising.
not a lot of support here. And then 71% for PSG, which I think that one we kind of figured.
Yeah, and it's funny. This was before the games, and it's kind of reflective of how close these games are going to probably be. We'll see.
Yeah, because we
We'll
said the
check
most
on
exciting ones is
afterwards.
the Madrid Bayern and then the Barcelona Atletico. The two most exciting ones, and they're the ones that are like it seems like it's a
In the
toss up.
50s. Yeah,
Mhm.
essentially.
Yeah, so I mean, we'll see what ends up happening. We'll find out, like you said, soon enough. Thankfully, we do have one really exciting game Tuesday, one really exciting game Wednesday, so we don't have to do like the split screen or what are they
Yeah.
televising, what are they not, So that's always a frustrating one, but we'll have some two really good games. But speaking, our last topic about frustration amongst I think a lot of folks in the U.S. and people just trying to buy FIFA tickets. I don't know if you were hearing about. People are finally kind of getting the tickets that they had signed up for. So the way that FIFA did it this year is they just sold like categories or like levels of tickets, and they were telling you you're going to be in like if you're buying a category one, you're like in this general area, like level one, which I think people assume is like the best level. You're going to be the closest, and then level two, three, and so on. Whereas you weren't actually buying like a physical ticket where you're like, okay, I'm row, section 300, row two, seat three, or whatever. And so they finally give people the tickets, and now those category one tickets that people spent a ton of money on, they're sitting like by the corner flag or in the second level, and people are really frustrated as to how are category one tickets that they thought they're the best tickets paying a ton of money. Now they're kind of feel bamboozled by FIFA.
It's been completely disappointing to see how a lot of this has gone down, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a belief that the United States, people traveling to the United States have infinite money and that they can charge whatever they want and people will pay it. And who knows, maybe that will be the case. But to your point on people buying category one seats, some of them are getting assigned seats that were previously in category two, to the point that the maps for the stadium websites have been removed altogether. So it's just seemed very shady. And to your point about people getting seats like in the corners, from what I had seen, there's been no one that has actually gotten seats in like the sideline part of the stadium, and the rumors are that those are all being reserved for hospitality partners. So it's just pretty sad to see how the game is not really accessible to some of probably like the biggest fans. I
Mm-hmm.
personally live in LA, in a city where the US is playing their opening game. There's going to be, I believe, like 8 or 9 games. And I signed up for the initial lottery, like the early Visa lottery, to try to get a spot to buy tickets, and I didn't get that. And since then I really haven't even like tried looking at them because I've seen how expensive they are. And in my head I've thought, okay, I'll probably pay more than I probably would to go to a game, any game. At this point, I'm not even thinking like, oh, I'm like a USA or Mexico game or like
Mm-hmm.
a marquee matchup. I'm just thinking I'll just go to any game just so I can say the World Cup was in the country I live in and I got to go to a game. But it's kind of like it leaves a little bit of a like sour taste in my mouth so far. That's the way it's been.
Yeah, it seems like it's just like very much a money grab, and it's frustrating. I think I'm not gonna say I've given up on going to the World Cup when the U.S. in the U.S., but like for me, it seems like it's just much more palatable to wait till it's in Spain,
Yeah,
Portugal, and you'll probably pay the same amount for a ticket here than you would for a flight, a ticket, a hotel, and everything, and you can
it's like a Taylor
go
Swift
somewhere
concert.
else. Yeah, exactly, right. So just being able to leverage that and go out there. So we'll see. I think I'm kind of just gonna go like the game time decision, wait till it gets closer, see if there's any tickets, and then kind of just be able to buy the games that you want and select the actual seats that you want to see. So we'll see what it looks like this summer. But tickets you did get tickets to, Mario. You want to tell the crowd?
Yeah, I will be going to a few Olympics matches. Even then though, like the service fee was like I think like 30 or 40% of like getting the tickets. I'm telling you, everyone's trying to just like take advantage of like people
Poor
here.
Americans. Oh
No, that's
no,
not what
poor
I'm
Los
saying. No,
Angeles.
I'm like the average like spectator, but I am excited. I won't deny it. I'm going to see some track and field, some beach volleyball, some swimming and diving. And there will be, I think, 11 matches at Snapdragon. So hopefully I can get some soccer tickets so we can
One thing I think is
catch some of that.
crazy is that they're literally taking your money, not taking your money, but you're buying the tickets like over 2 years before the event actually happens. It's absolutely nuts that they're selling them
Yeah,
that early on.
it's insane. When I purchased them, I was like, oh yeah, next year. And I was like, wait, no, like 2 years from now. It's pretty crazy.
I know you're like so much can happen in the world in 2 years, but I guess that's what happens when it's like kind of a once in a lifetime thing to be able to watch the Olympics. So that'll be some fun ones, but congrats on getting that because that's an exciting one.
Thank you. Thank you. I am excited.
Yeah. Speaking of another exciting thing, we have our fun. I know we kind of teased it a little bit last week when we did the podcast, but we are going to be releasing the non-alcoholic beer pitch report madness. I think that's what we're calling it. If we're not calling it, we're calling it now. So it'll be fun. It'll probably be after this episode airs. We'll put that on. You can see it on YouTube as well. Probably the best viewing would be on YouTube, just because I think that's kind of how we were doing it. You'll get to see us with Jesus and with Mr. Leo, just kind of talking about soccer and then being able to test some beers, which was actually a lot of fun. And it really made me appreciate a lot of the non-alcoholic beers and how much they taste like alcohol or alcoholic beers.
Yeah, I had a blast recording this one. And the format of it was that we didn't know which beers we were tasting at each time. We just had a soccer logo of a team on each cup. So it was kind of like a like March Madness bracket or like a Champions League bracket, if you will, where it was Barcelona versus X team or whatever, and then we would taste which one we liked better, and then we would move on to like the next round. So it was a lot of fun. It's definitely worth the watch, I would say. I tried some new beers I hadn't had before, and I really liked them.
Yeah, exactly. So make sure you guys you all tune in to that episode. We'll probably be following, a couple hours after this one. But I think that pretty much does it for us today, right, Mario?
Yeah, and that's all for today.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate being part of your day, talking soccer and hanging out. Remember, find us on Instagram and X @_pitch report and now on video at pitch report pod. I'm Amilcar.
I'm Mario.
Bye.
Bye.